I just bought 11 of the weirdest footballs. We'll start with the fun and crazy ones before moving on to those that actually make you a better footballer. First up is the £35 3D printed Airless football. Just the idea of this one is so cool. A 3D printer has literally been layering thousands of very thin plastic layers over many hours to create this perfectly spherical ball, which explains why it costs so much. Does it bounce? No. It has got the typical signs of a 3D printed object, being a little rough around the edges, but it's flexible and returns to its original shape. Even if you accidentally step on it, or step on it on purpose, it pops right back. I'd say it's a decent ball for practicing dribbling skills, and it's actually not too bad for doing keep-ups. It's just a little heavy for indoor use. You might end up breaking something. Let's head outside. You'll notice that the grass sometimes pokes inside the football. It's really strange when you play with this outside. The moment you try and take a shot or hit it with any power, then the plastic ball stings your foot and all speed is taken out of your shot as the material flexes. Just look at how far my boot has gone into this ball, and once again you'll see that it really doesn't bounce. It kind of feels like kicking a deflated football. This gets a 4 out of 10. Right here we have the £20 giant inflatable football. Yeah, this isn't working. Onto the pump. What's special about this one though is that it inflates to over 1 metre in diameter. 107 centimetres to be exact. It's definitely not for indoor use. Just look at it, you can't even fit it through the door. But as you can tell, the ball's not perfectly round. Let's see what this is actually like to kick though. Let's try and do some keep-ups with this. Despite its size, it still feels quite floaty when you kick the ball into the air. The wind does take it quite a bit. Header! Go! It's really fun to play with, but it does make you feel very clumsy. Go on, try and score. It's obviously more of a novelty product, but it doesn't stop it from being so much fun. I'm giving this a 7 out of 10. I love the size of it, I just don't really know how you're meant to play with it. It's time for some indoor football, starting with the £15 Foooty. Or is it Foooty? It doesn't look like a football right now. That's because it's designed to fit into your pocket. When you're in the mood to play some football, all you have to do is snap these 10 segments together. You can click these together in different ways to make different objects, which we'll check out after the ball. Now this is slightly bouncier than the Airless football we tried earlier. It's also a lot lighter, so it's much less likely to cause damage. I will say that it's not perfectly round, but the shape tends to hold together fairly well, and it's actually really good for doing keepers because of how lightweight it is. Let's see if it breaks apart if I smash it. So a little bit has popped out just there, which isn't the end of the world because you can just pop it back in. As I mentioned, you can build other shapes, like this chunky frisbee. Let's give it a test. Oops, well I've tested the clock out again. How about this rugby ball or American football shape? The holes really help you to grip the ball. And because it has this flat base to it, you can also set it up to do field goals, which is a bit crazy for indoors. But I think it's really useful to use just 2 of these to create a mini training cone or a goalpost marker. It's a great portable training aid to practice your dribbling skills. You could even use it as a hat. What am I doing? My main concern with this is that over time the connectors will weaken. I can already see some stress points here, but I really like this. I can see myself kicking it around the house for a while. This gets an 8 out of 10. Given that the Air Power Soccer costs just £5, I'll be surprised if it even works. It's extremely light. There's products that feel cheap. And then there's this. So this ball sucks in air at the top and blows it out of the bottom so that it floats, kind of like a hovercraft. It is designed to be kicked, I'm just not sure how hard. 4 AA batteries are required to power this thing, and it also has colour changing lights. Flashing colour changing lights. Right, big moment. 3, 2, 1. It floats! The way that it glides across the floor and bounces off the side really reminds me of those air hockey tables. It's worth noting though that this only really works on hard floors. I've not been using this for long, but I can kind of smell a metallic-y burning smell coming from the motor. It's not a great sign. I don't think it will last that long. Let's try a few harder kicks. It is sustaining the kicks quite well, possibly because of the foam-like outside of the disc. But the ultimate test, will it survive a power shot? Oh no, I think I've killed it. No, it's still going, but it snapped. It sounds like it's going to work, but it just doesn't hover anymore. That was obviously a bit too hard. At least with its final kick, it found the back of the net. Calling this a football is pushing it a bit. I think it deserves a 6 out of 10. For the extremely cheap cost, it is quite fun for light play. The £20 NightBall is a light-up football that allows you to play in the dark, of course. NightBall is such a menacing name. So it says it has double LEDs for max brightness. The batteries in the ball can be replaced, but this section is quite hard, so I don't think you'll want to be heading this. Oh, yeah, definitely don't header it. I can't wait to see how this looks in the dark, but it's still daytime. So, are you ready? 3, 2, 1. Whoa, that's actually really bright. The light stays on for about 35 seconds after being hit, which should be long enough, unless you only hit it lightly. Then the ball disappears into the darkness. Where's it gone? It's okay, you can see the ball, but not much else. It just doesn't light up much of the area around you, making it very easy to lose sense of your surroundings. Besides giving you the ability to continue playing football into the night, it does what it says and it works really well. I just think the amount of scenarios where you would need a ball that lights up is actually quite small. It's obviously for more of a fun kickerbout in the dark. This gets a 5 out of 10. Before we head on to the balls that make you a better player, we have the £16 Power Soccer. Try to guess what this one does, and while you're at it, don't forget to hit subscribe. 3, 2, 1. It's a gender reveal ball, of course, and this one lasted just 1 kick. Now obviously this ball broke, which is not ideal, but I still want to do that slow motion pink colour for you. You've got to admit, it looks incredible in slow motion, and now my boots look kind of funky. This gets a 2 out of 10. It has its purpose, but not as a playable ball. Be honest, did you guess that correctly? The £22 counter ball seems like a much better use of technology inside a ball. As the name suggests, this ball counts your keep-ups up until 100, and it also apparently lights up and glows with your tricks. I can't wait to see that. Right, so this button here is where you've turned it on. You've got to press and hold it for 3 seconds, and then you should hear a beep. This section is quite hard, but it is recessed in the ball, so hopefully we shouldn't feel it too much. Before we get started, let's hear what this sounds like. It sounds okay, but the light effect is pretty poor, even in a dark room. But it's not counting every single one. Thank you. It's having trouble registering about half of the touches. I have a feeling it's because I'm wearing socks, so let's try it with some trainers on. Come on, count! It's given up! I just swapped the batteries out in here just to see if that actually helps. And it did. It made it a lot better. It was now counting almost every kick. Still not perfect, but it did allow me to reach 100. What? Starts again. So the counting does just start again from 1 when you pass 100. I gave this another attempt to hear what it says when you stop at 100. It mostly works, I just wish it counted above 100, and it's got a few flaws, so I'm going to rate it 5 out of 10. Next up is the £18 KickerBall. This should be better. The packaging has the tagline, "Play like a pro." That's a big claim. Twice the curves, twice the fun. So apparently this ball allows you to add a lot more curve to your shots. This image makes you laugh though. There's no way the ball is going to do multiple loop-the-loops. It's just not happening. It feels quite a bit lighter than a regular football, and it has this soft felt-like material on the outside. I can imagine this will get quite dirty over time. When you're dribbling this around or doing some smaller kicks, it feels just like a light football. But let's find out how much this actually curves. For reference, using the inside of my boot on a standard ball, I can get some slight curve. The same goes for the outside of my boot, and the power shot is nice and straight. With the kicker ball, I struggled to keep this down because of how much lighter it is. But look at that curve! Once I got used to it, the inside of my boot produced a lot more curve. Same goes for the outside of the boot, even if that one missed. And the power shots had some wicked curve to them. Especially that shot into the top corner. It's pretty perfect if you ask me. This definitely just feels like a light football, but once you get used to it, you can control it very well. In a way, it does feel like you're enhancing your ability. I was right about the ball getting dirty though, and there is even a bit of damage here already. But this is so enjoyable to play with that you can definitely add a lot of whip to your shots. This gets an 8 out of 10. Next up, we have these 2 Forza goalkeeper training balls, starting off with a £17 React ball. From the outside, it looks and feels just like a standard football, but it's been specially designed to have an unnatural movement to help train goalkeepers. It might look perfectly round, but it's this slight ridge which is weighted and makes the ball wobble. Before we compare this to the standard ball, let's introduce the Reflex ball, which also costs £17. This one is wild, just look at it! It's constructed out of 4 panels, which gives it this unique shape, and as a result, what should be a very unpredictable bounce. So let's compare. This is a standard ball bouncing. This is the React ball bouncing. It bounces off its spot, but not by much. And the Reflex ball. This is just crazy, I love it! This is a standard ball rolling in a straight line. The React ball rolling in a straight line. There's definitely an inconsistency to the way the ball rolls. And the Reflex ball. This doesn't just go from side to side, this flicks itself into the air, it's brilliant! And for the final test, I'm going in goal. No shots or passes with the standard ball are very predictable. The React ball sometimes bounced up, sometimes it didn't. It was significantly more challenging, and that attempt at a save was pretty poor on my part. Because the Reflex ball is lighter, a lot of the time it just skimmed across the surface, but when it did flick up, it flicked up big time and caught me off guard. In midair, you can see that the React ball had an unusual wobble to it. The Reflex ball didn't move too much, it was just harder to hit on target in the first place because of its unusual shape. Finally, some goalkeeper training, bouncing the ball right in front of me. Once again, look at how much the Reactable wobbles in the air. In this situation, the Reflex ball is better here with a bigger change of direction on the bounce. This is the more unusual football, but this is the better all-round training ball. This gets a 6 out of 10 and this gets an 8 out of 10. Imagine playing a match with this one. The £50 soccer bot is supposed to be the ultimate indoor football opponent. Inside this very premium package we have the soccer bot, 4 zone discs and the tiny smart football. So what we have here is this football with a sensor inside and this robot that drives towards the sensor, effectively trying to tackle you. The soccer bot is powered by 4 AA batteries and the ball requires 3 AAA batteries. Straight away I can tell that this ball is heavily weighted towards one side. I just hope it doesn't affect the actual game too much. The soccer bot has 3 speed settings as well as the boost mode for different surfaces like carpets. The box says this is the next innovation in football. I'm not sure about that, but let's put this to the test. Starting at the slower speed, here we go. Okay, so it's actually targeting the ball really well, but the ball has a very weird roll to it. It makes it a little awkward to control. Look what happens when I spin it. You can already see it wobbling off center. Also, the robot doesn't detect these markers. They're made out of plastic and they're purely for you to make your own boundaries. The way this works is that the longer you keep the ball away from the robot, the more points you get. You get 3 lives, and when the screen pass on the front of the robot makes contact with the ball, you lose a life. Let's jump straight to level 3 and see what that's like. This is noticeably faster. Get the ball. You feel like you can just, hey! It's not perfect with the way the ball rolls, and sometimes the robot will lose sight of the ball. I think I've defeated it. And you can kind of cheat by rolling the ball directly around it. But this is so much fun! Ah! Yeah, I think I set my boundaries a little too close to the edge. As you can tell, this has been a very tough workout. The most challenging part about this is that this robot is just relentless. Normally in football, you do a few moves to beat a player or you get tackled. But this soccer bot is determined to take you down. Do you know what? I can put up with the occasional time that this doesn't detect the ball and the dodgy roll that this ball has, because I do think this will help you improve your ball control and quick decision making, and over time make you a better player. This gets a 9 out of 10. Thanks for watching. Oh no!